Recording.
Recording. Okay. So yeah, we just wish to introduce you a little bit to our ideas for the conference, how we set up the paper submissions. You already probably know a bit about it, but also therefore how we anticipate the review process, and for you, of course, as well to pose some questions if you have them. So I will start sharing my screen. RSD 10, and that's the symposium. And well, the top 3 people you've already seen, we attend this meeting. We are the scientific committee for this year, for the RSD 10, and below you see Peter Jones and Sylvia Barbero, who are also on the scientific committee, but those they are from SDA, so the Strategic Design Association. And together we review, we coordinate the review process. So if you have any questions, you can always email us or contact us. As you probably know, the theme for this year is playing with tensions. So what do we mean by that? We have some sort of themes, topics. It's about breaks in scale. If you want to change systems, if you want to have systemic impact, you deal probably with multiple levels of scale. You have probably a macro perspective, but you want to intervene on a micro perspective, and how do you bring those perspectives together? It's about value conflicts of probably particular different stakeholders, but also values you have in the short term or values in the long term between collectives and individuals. It's about bringing perspectives together, so social perspectives and technical perspectives that might have some tensions between them. It might be about collaboration and working transdisciplinary and how that might cause some frictions or hurdles to overcome. And it's about bringing multiple assets or skills to table, like both the rationality, but also your emotions and understanding people's emotions and your actions. And besides this, that we think it's a nice theme for this conference, it's also possible to submit papers on the more, let's say, methodological topics or the themes that are always present at RSD, which is the systemic design methods. It's about systems change and transitions, how to bring in the organizations, and case studies are also an option to submit. So we also value a lot of the practitioner contributions, but we will also have a separate track for that, which will be announced later. And that is a build up to our ambitions, because contrary to previous years in which we asked for an extended abstract, and then you present your work at the conference, and then building on the input you generated on the conference, you were asked to submit a full paper or to upload a full paper, which could be selected for a journal. We now decided to ask for full papers, but these can be short. So those are 1,500 to 2,000 words, or they can be long, 3,000 to 5,000 words. And they have a different role also to play at the conference. So the long papers we asked for to be presented as finished work, so research that's finished, and that should be convincing as also bringing forward new knowledge. And we want to post them on the conference, really representing the state of the art of the field. So the experience also at the conference is more about the settings, is more about the classic presenter. You might ask a few questions, but it's really to absorb, let's say, the best work in research on systemic design. The short papers, however, is more about allows a platform for unfinished work from, let's say, the pioneers. The role that the presentations at the conference will have is really to be a stepping stone for an in-depth panel discussion. So we will also ask people who will be at the conference and who are eager to join those sessions to potentially take a formal role in this panel and to really prepare the panel discussion. So read the paper beforehand. And we really want to orchestrate this as an effective communication that is also interesting to attendees that are not presenting, but really to get that a bit more structured and organized. And let's see if it works. And yeah, so we explore in this work more the new territories in systemic design, and probably also some methodological challenges. The themes that are interesting across studies, those are the ones who we wish to give the stage. So the reason, or the way that's therefore how we set up the review process, we received about 90 submissions. I think it's a little bit less, 86 or so. And we have about 90 reviewers, Mika, you say? Well, I'm not sure, but each...
Around 40.
Around 40, thanks. Each paper is assigned to 2 reviewers, and of which minimally 1 obtains a PhD. And we have a slight more emphasis to have some expert reviewers on the long papers and a little bit more the junior reviewers on the short papers, reviewing the short papers. We made sure that the reviewers who are assigned to one paper are from different university than each other, but also different university or organization than the first author. And we've tried to match the papers with the reviewer's expertise as much as possible, but of course there are some limitations there. And what's also new this year is that the review is transparent. So we ask you to provide a review, but you know the authors, and the authors will get to know who reviewed them. When we receive conflicting reviews, we will ask a third reviewer to review the work to make a good decision. And what we ask from you is to read the work. So you have been assigned at least 2 papers, maybe more. Read the work and assess the work on a 7-point scale. So that ranges from strong reject to strong accept. And it's in easy chair, we will get to that later. And we ask you to substantiate this assessment in reference to 4 criteria. And the first one is pertinence. So to what level does it fit the theme? And of course, that is a range. It can be less or well suited to the theme. But SDA is strongly in favor of that when the paper does not address both a systemic viewpoint and a design viewpoint, that we should reject it. So papers who are only about a systems perspective on organization work and doesn't adhere to any design process or literature or whatsoever, that's not the idea of the conference. So we really want to, to bridge those 2 bodies of theory and methodologies in RSD. So that's sort of can be a hard reject at that point. But when it does somehow, and it relates to those, it does somehow relate to the theme, and it has both perspectives in the paper, then it's okay. And then it's more about the quality, the relevance, and the originality. So the quality, especially in the long papers, the quality is important. So how well is the study consistent and convincing in building up to the argument and the results. Also regarding the methods and the methodology, the research methodology. And the relevance and the originality might be more important criteria for the short paper. So, of course, how relevant is it? With regard to what we already know, but also relevance for practice is an important criterion. Implications for practice, and the originality. So, how novel is it? Does it bring new ideas forward, etc. So this will also be in the different forms, because there are 2 forms for the short paper and the long paper, in which these criteria, or at least how you should weigh them for the short and long paper, are spelled out. And you will also receive a PDF that in which the criteria are explained, just like I did now. And then we ask for you for the long papers to highlight some, or to note down some highlights. So we will probably use this also in the program, and to, let's say, seduce people to attend the conference presentation. And with regard to the short papers, we ask you to identify some interesting themes that you think this paper brings forward, that might be an interesting topic to discuss at the conference. So then we can combine some papers in the same session that probably have similar themes, and we can and directly ask the panel contributors to reflect on that theme, and therefore we build really this in-depth dialogue. Of course, needless to say, be honest. I mean, we aim for quality, but stay polite. But you probably are more stimulated to do so since it is a transparent review process. But you can provide us, and I saw that JC called us the PC, and I was wondering what is the PC, but it's probably the problem committee of the program committee. The problem committee is also a nice committee, but with some suggestions. So there might be this long paper is maybe more suitable to be submitted as a short paper because it's an unfinished work, or this paper is more a case study. It can be maybe more presented as a case study from practice whatsoever. So you can suggest us things, and this is not transparent, so you will it's not be communicated to the authors. These are the review criteria I discussed. These will also be part of the PDF that is sent to you after this meeting. It's not rocket science, but it's probably nice to have the same reference. Then there is Easy Chair, and I think you received an invitation just before this meeting with also the papers. You need to log in Easy Chair. You need to accept your role as sub-reviewer, I think you say. And then you can download the papers, and you have also the forms to upload your review. If you have any questions on that, you can also post them now. I will also insert the instructions into the PDF to make sure you have them as well. But they're also attached to the email. And we ask you to submit before July 5. So that means you have 4 weeks from now. Because that gives us enough time to, when needed, ask a third reviewer, and we need to notify the authors by the end of July, especially when we will have a conference, a hybrid conference. Then, you know, with the booking of tickets and organizing your visit, that's the minimum time you need till November. And the papers will become part, when they are accepted, I'm not sure exactly when, but they will part of the proceedings. The proceedings are online proceedings, and you can find them at rsdsymposium.org. The SDA has done quite some effort in organizing all the papers from last year in line with themes, with type of contribution. And so that's quite a nice resource, actually. So that's maybe nice to know that that's where they will end up. Thank you. And that's the short introduction that I had, and I will leave the floor open if you have any questions to post them or any remarks. I see a chat. Sorry, I was late. Still at the phone. I'll try to catch up. Okay, Carla, that's okay.
I have a small question, which is actually not really relating to reviewing, but there is a discussion about publishing with the journals, right? And there is a discussion in SDA about founding SDA's own journals. Is this resolved for this conference, or will there be other journals? Because on the website, in the call for papers, it doesn't really say clearly which journals and what will be there.
Yeah, Mieke, you might have the most recent information. No, okay. Well, it was always the case that there were some papers be selected and to be submitted to SHEJI or Form
Academics. There is been a problem with Form Academics because academics started to charge for the proofreading costs. Therefore, from my information, I am in publication committee of starting new journal. SDA has decided to start a new journal. Which I don't know if it will be ready for this conference or it's for another one. and what will be happening.
Yeah, I don't have the details on it, but I know indeed that Peter or the SDA is working on their own journal, and we have decided at least that there is no relationship between the submissions of this year and a journal publication. So I'm not sure if he's gonna ask people to contribute, but that will be that might be based on this work, but of course it will not be the same paper or the same work. So. And probably, I think there might be a launch or at some point, and he might steer towards a launch at the conference, but I'm not sure if that's agreed already.
Thanks.
Thomas.
Yeah, just quick clarification question regarding that suggestion to the program committee. So you said that if the paper is more in the line of case study, then is there a different outlet or the different opportunity for that kind of paper? Because quite a few of them actually are case study, but it could be good case study.
Yeah. Of course, case study research is fine to submit as a paper, but it might be if it's, for instance, a reflection on a case in practice, and you think, okay, there is no good research method, there is no actual research question or whatsoever, it's more of a reflection on a professional practice, then you might also suggest it for that track. And that one, we haven't fully developed that track yet, but it will be announced probably in the coming weeks. Okay. And that will be a significant smaller contribution, 1A4, deliberately aimed at practitioners. So that might be a suggestion. Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Dan.
Thanks, Nika. So I had a question about the transparency of the reviewing means that the authors know who know who we are, and we know who they are. But you said that the proposal for like what might happen with a paper, like is it kind of what sort of thing is it suitable for, was not going to be open, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's more a suggestion on how we could organize it as a program committee. Yeah.
Okay, just because the reason I'm asking is because so looking at the papers that in Easy Chair that I was assigned this afternoon, like there's one that's a short paper that's proposing something very similar to, in fact, what I was proposing in my submission. So the natural thing for me to do as a reviewer would be to go, well, let's work together on this. But that doesn't seem like me being a reviewer. That seems like me being a kind of, I don't know what. So I suppose
enthusiastic researcher. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I guess what I mean is, as a reviewer, am I able to say, like, because it is all open, like transparent, presumably I can say in my review, I too have submitted something very similar, and perhaps we can, is that okay? Because that seems, I don't know, like,
interesting question.
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Well, at least to the program committee or whatever. Yeah, sorry, whatever I wrote there or Easy Chair wrote there, you could suggest, for example, to put those two papers in the same session. That's also one thing. So because then we could build upon each other's work in the same session or compare it even, if it's both short papers, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and in general, I mean, you know the author, so you can also email him or her, right, afterwards. Or, I mean, it's
okay. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it should be part of the review, but
yeah, because I suppose that's what I wanted to get is, like, it seems a bit. If I was like, the natural thing would be for me just to email them and go like, yeah, look, I saw you submitted this because I'm your reviewer. Look, blah, blah. And obviously in most conferences that would be like completely forbidden and like in no way should you do that. But okay, it's all right. I'll make it work. I was just checking in case you had like some really strong policy.
No, it's a good question, and I think we haven't thought through all of these details and consequences of the fact that it's a transparent process. So
emergent behavior.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah. So, any other questions?
So to be clear, the different tracks are the long papers, the short papers, and the practitioners' case studies. Those are the three tracks, right?
Yeah, we have even more, Mieke.
Yeah, we have, I think 6 tracks. So we have the long and short papers. We have a practice track for practitioners that Nienke just explained. We'll have a workshop track. Just like we've had at previous RSD conferences. There's an exhibition track that's also at previous RSD conferences. They're usually a systems maps type of exhibition. And then there's a fourth format, which is kind of an interactive dialogue format where people can propose a theme for delegates to discuss at the conference. So maybe it's useful that you'll have a look at this call when it's announced. So our deadline is 18th of June. So within 2 weeks, we will announce the call. And we can also send you an email, but you should probably receive the call anyway via the SDA. So we'll inform you about that once it's
And
written.
so potentially papers could be redirected towards any of those things, or
Yeah, I can quite imagine that, you know, you would suggest for something to be turned into a workshop, for example, if that's more appropriate.
And so, but in terms of the review, it would still be within the scope of the track where it's submitted a reject, and then to you we would say, but you could look at this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you all submit a paper? Dan did. It's all transparent. So Marie did. Was it? No.
We are actually, we have short paper and we are 4 co-authors.
Oh.
So it was quite a funny process how to make 1,000 words in 4 people. And we agreed to submit a workshop, and obviously we will be also submitting for exhibition.
Oh, nice. Good. All right. Well, if there is no more thing to discuss, then we can close off. Again, thanks. And if anything pops up, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us. Can be in person, can also to the general email address. Hi, Carla. Good to see your face.
Hi, sorry for being late. However, I could listen to your final words. I'm sorry. These days we are always on some device talking with people, so
no worries.
I arrived late, but anyhow, I will catch up with what you said, and I'm very glad to be here and to see your faces again.
Nice, welcome, and thanks for contributing. Thanks to you all, and hope to meet also, but we'll be in touch about the review.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.